Excellent. Good morning. Good morning, Willie and Wendy. Thank you so much for coming over this morning. Really appreciate you coming over and joining from Toronto. Both Willie and Wendy are from Toronto, and let me introduce them one by one. Willie. Willie is from Toronto, Canada, and he is a young, talented CEO of multiple companies, naming a few: Way of Will, which is an essential oil company; New Wave
Mm.
Holdings; Newton Crude; I Am Living, and multiple other companies. And he is a basically a product designer, and he has been able to get his products into Whole Foods, Northam, Winners, HomeSense, and Lululemon, and many more other companies. And he has been a successful business entrepreneur, built multiple multi-million dollar businesses in Toronto. He graduated from Ontario College of Arts, and he has a decade of experience in product development. And his latest venture is Way of Will, which is an essential oil company. This is a very personal line for him, because this is what interests him a lot. Willie, thank you so much for coming over. Look forward to speaking with you.
Hey, how are you?
Very good. Thank you so much, Willie. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Wendy. Wendy is again entrepreneur, 40 year in the business. It's called North 42. She's a principal stylist and creative director. So her mission is to empower women to express their inner style with carefully curated pieces of the world top designers. Now, she has been traveling across the world from all fashion weeks in Paris, Milan, New York, and she's trying to bring all the luxury brands of apparel into her shop. She is she has included apparels from Givenchy, Jean Paul, Levin, Ralph Lauren, Valentino, Versace, and many more brands in her kitty. And she's helping women to become more beautiful with her superb uh, advice and creative designs. Thank you so much, Wendy, for coming over this morning.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful, guys. Thank you very much. My name is Amit Kaushal. I'm a co-founder of a company called Enalito, and we have a software plugin which basically helps e-commerce businesses to do email marketing and understand their customers. So if you have your customers and you don't really understand them, our plugin, which is for Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce, can help you understand your customers and can help you send them very specific way targeted email marketing and SMS campaigns. Thank you so much, guys, for coming over. Let me ask my first question to Willie. Willie, you have been running multiple businesses.
Right.
Would you advise young entrepreneurs like yourself, or entrepreneurs, to have their hands in multiple businesses at the same time?
Yeah, it's not easy, but I think it all comes down to passion, right? Like if you're really passionate about something, you just kind of naturally, you know, you can naturally run all the businesses all together, because all of them are actually tied or hand in hand. So I think that the most important thing is that, you know, like you got to be passionate about what you do, and you know, move forward that way, as opposed to like just want to run it because you want to own a business.
Very interesting. So, what Willie is saying, that if you have the passion for the businesses, you will be able to do them all simultaneously. So, how do you divide your time, Willie, among all those 4 5 businesses that you have, and how have you made them
Yeah,
successful simultaneously?
it's about like setting milestones and also schedule as well. It's very important to like divide up, like, you know, like in a day, how much time you're going to put towards certain businesses and certain way of like handling them, right? So I think the first thing is to set milestones for each businesses and see how you can separate and divide your time within, you know, a week and a month.
So, Willie is saying you must divide your time and schedule your time so that you can give attention to all the businesses that require your time. Thank you so much, Willie, for that initial setup.
Right.
Wendy, Let us know your why. What's your calling? Why are you doing what you're doing? Wendy, on mute.
There we go. Originally, I mean, I was in the restaurant business prior to fashion, and it was kind of organic how it started, but business is business. So I just really liked, you know, business and working for myself. So it was organic how it started. And, you know, it just comes down to me, I feel, as a level of taste. You know, I could be doing art, I could be doing fashion, I could be doing furniture. And quite honestly, I end up doing a lot of that to, uh, you know, make fashion a broader sense of taste and design. So it kind of all comes into it. So did I actually just have this passion for fashion way back in my early 20s a little bit, but it was more a passion for business.
So what you're saying is whether it was the apparel business where you're trying to bring in all the big brands under your umbrella, or any other business, you would do it with same passion.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a building process, you know, it's like building something. That's why they call it bricks and mortar. You're putting one brick on, you're putting the next brick on. One of the bricks, you know, starts to fall apart, and then you have to figure out how to mortar it back on. So, you know, it's a process. And you know, I feel like a lot of the new entrepreneurs sometimes expect everything to happen all at once. If you want a good solid business, you have to do it step by step. And if you want people to trust you in your business, it also is step by step. So I would, you know, say to the young entrepreneurs, you know, figure out where you always have your vision, and your vision will change over time because you'll keep evolving, but have that direction of where you want to go, and, you know, set your map out and keep working towards it. Keep working towards it,
Excellent.
but it'll change. Yeah.
That's a super advice, Wendy. You are saying that go step by step. Do not try to jump too high, too far in a small time of time. Take consistent steps and keep progressing and keep your vision aligned with what you're doing. That's a great tip, Wendy. Wendy, one more question. What has changed for you in your business in last 12 months?
Uh, well, mostly everything. You know, in a certain aspect, everything for sure, because the way, you know, you're used to operating your business on a day-to-day fashion dramatically has changed, right from, you know, no customers to product unavailability to, you know, with fashion, it's there's just so many steps from the fabric. Okay, somebody has to make that fabric. Then somebody has to cut that fabric. Then somebody has to sew that fabric. So there's just so many components and so many different craftsmanship that go into it. And when that all starts to shut down, you know, you don't have the people to make it because, you know, everybody had to stay indoors and stay away from work because of COVID. So it's dramatically changed. And, you know, you just have to take a look at, you know, what you're good at. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Think about what am I good at? How can I make this work within my business? Not everybody else's business, my business. And you know, you'll figure out something just to keep it going. And that's exactly what we did. Just, you know, take your strengths, whether they're reaching out to customers or it's actually a bit of production, and take that strength and figure out a way to navigate through the changes and keep navigating as things change.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for that, Wendy. Really tell us about your businesses. How have you been able to cope up with COVID? Whether the businesses are progressing with COVID, or did you face difficult times? You got to unmic yourself. You got to unmic yourself. It's on
Does
the
it work
bottom
now?
left. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's very interesting because COVID actually speed everything up. I think the retail landscape has been changing for, I would say, for the past 5 years. From like, wholesale was working really well with brick and mortar stores, and then you have Amazon and online. I think it was the trend that retail is moving online, but COVID is actually pushing it faster, right? So I think with COVID, it's interesting because my businesses, our e-commerce has been up more than 500%, right? Because we built everything to grow our e-commerce pre-COVID, anyways. And then having COVID, and then often everyone just buy online. That really helps us. At the other hand, in wholesale, we probably drop about, I would say, more than 200% in sales. So the only way for us to survive was to pivot, right? To not only to go online, but if we want to stay in retail and brick and mortar store, we would have to select stores that could keep up with remain open during COVID, meaning that drugstores, grocery stores, and all those remain open. So we switch our focus from working with independent stores and department stores to those stores. So we actually managed to sustain both side of businesses pretty well, as well as growing our Amazon as well. So I think during COVID, it definitely did help us a little bit, did hurt us a little bit, but at the same time help us to move to the right direction that we're going to move to anyways. If I answer your question correctly.
Yes, yes. So what you're saying is COVID did help you speed up a few things. It would have otherwise taken many more years for people to adopt to e-commerce. I think that the adoption has become much faster than ever before, and
For
that
sure.
really helped e-commerce businesses. So, uh, Willie, tell us about your multiple businesses and how all of them are linked, or how all of them are linked to your passion, and
Right.
how all of them are linked to one another.
Yeah, it's interesting because it to me, it all links together, but to other people, it may sound very different. So I started my first business in 2015, and it's a ceramic home decor business. So I design ceramic products, and then we sell to stores like Urban Outfitters and Anthropology. And it's a business that really based, it's a wholesale based business. So we design products and then manufacture in China, and then ship them overseas and sell to stores, right? So from that, I met a lot of buyers, people, a lot of connections in retail, wholesale. So, but through that, I also learned that it's not a very scalable business, because I would create a ceramic, let's say a ceramic bowl, and I would sell it to a customer, but the customer wouldn't come back for another 3-4 years because they probably don't need another ceramic bowl within those time. So then from that, and also I've been working with a lot of manufacturer overseas, and I really not liking a lot of the ways they work, and also the fact that it's labor and everything's getting more expensive. So that I figured that I want to start another business that I could manufacture locally, and also something that can retain customers, right? And then I started to look into, my interests, my connections, and what I really into. And also at that time, my father passed away, and he kind of inspired me a little bit, during the process that he was staying in hospital. So then I figured that essential oil, body care products, and wellness product, it's what I want to start, and it's something that kind of fit into my criteria, right? So then, so that's how it started, my second business. And I started a Way of Will in 2016. Sorry, my first business started in 2008, and then this business started in 2015. And starting this business, I also know that I want to one day sell the business. So I kind of have a business model where I can, scale and sell. So yeah, I just pull all my connections together and then start a small factory here, and then everything worked out pretty well because of my previous connections, and also, you know, pivot based on what didn't work before. Then from that, I also found a lot of opportunities in the wellness skincare industry, heading towards the eco-friendly sector. So then I started my third business, which is Nude and Crude, which is a eco-friendly body care product. So it's all, you know, it's all started with my experience with wholesale, and then kind of grow from there. So in a sense where it makes sense, because I'm really into working with like buyers and stuff like that. And that's how it's kind of all connected, right?
Excellent. That's a great story, Willie, from ceramic to essential oils to body care products.
Yeah.
I think you have many hats to wear. So one very important thing that we learned here, people like you, like young folks like yourself, are also building businesses to sell businesses later on.
Right.
Whereas Randy is somebody who has been entrepreneur and stuck to her business in the last 40 years. So Randy, tell us about it. I mean, folks like Willie are building businesses. A lot of other people are also building businesses to sell the businesses. And whereas you come from perhaps a school of thought where you just keep building your businesses for decades and don't sell it ever. So what do you say about this contrast way of running businesses?
Well, of course, when I started, I mean, and you know, I was well into, you know, a decade or two with my business. There was no such thing as the internet. You know, everything was done by the phone. You didn't email people. You didn't, you know, you picked up the phone and chased down your contact. So you know, from that respect, you can continue on. By the time the internet came, I was well into, you know, my 25th year, I suppose. That because of that, I, you know, obviously kept doing what I was doing because I had established a business. But at the same time, you know, you had to adapt to it. So you started using the internet, you emailed people. It was, you know, I was there at the beginning. When we wrote up a sale, we wrote it up for a long time too. I was the first person to have a POS machine that was a program that was designed by an individual, where it was a point of sale, because there was no such thing in retail. You just wrote everything up and you did the Visa like that. Do I wish I would have started right away when, you know, there was this talk about things, you know, going on this crazy platform and you could actually sell things? Because of course, everybody, you know, in my realm and my, you know, where we were, thought there was no absolute way that anyone would buy fashion by looking at a photo when you could have the opportunity to go into a store. So, you know, we kept thinking it wasn't going to happen, it was going to go away. And had I jumped on to that right at the beginning, just by attrition, I would have a very successful online business because I was there at the beginning. Unfortunately, I did not do that. And, you know, most people didn't do it. You really had to be tech savvy. And my generation was not tech savvy. Now people grow up, they're 2 years old and, you know, they're using a bit of technology. So things are very different. So for sure, anybody starting a business right now, you know, you have to go the way the world is going. You wouldn't, I mean, you could, but you need all omni channels. And we do have, you know, all the channels. Am I proficient at all of them? No, so I hire people. And I can do that because, you know, I've been in business for so long. I've got the, you know, I've got the funds to be able to do that. But, you know, if you're not interested in it, you can still do a bricks and mortar business, but you need to hook all your channels together. You need your social, you need your online platform. And, you know, if you want a bricks and mortar, you can have the bricks and mortar. If you just want a bricks and mortar, you still will have to have, you know, some sort of online platform, even just for people to look you up. Whether or not you sell a ton on it is another thing, but just to have it, because that's the way that the people shop now. And if you don't, it's going to put you behind. So
Yes,
you need all the channels.
absolutely 100%. So Wendy, you said you got late to get into e-commerce, and it would have been wonderful if you would have entered it 20 years back. So now,
Yeah.
what's your sales distribution versus online versus offline?
Well, online, because I'm on another platform as well as my own North 42 on Shopify. It's probably 20%, 25%, maybe 28%. I mean, you have to remember that I'm in luxury goods. So, you know, we're not talking about, you know, an impulse purchase. And a lot of people use the word luxury loosely. When I use the word luxury, I use it properly. So luxury is, you know, pieces that are mostly over $1,000 and up, and even that's a bit loose. So, you know, it's a very different pattern for myself versus, you know, what, for instance, Winnie is doing. And as far as, you know, selling a business like mine, it's, you know, probably a little bit more difficult too. But that's not to say it couldn't happen. It's not to say it couldn't happen, for sure.
Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much, Wendy, for that. So, will you tell us about your experience with investors? Have you been able to raise money? And if yes, how do you choose your investors?
Yeah, it's a interesting question because it's definitely a long journey, and it's a lot of connections as well. I bootstrap out a company, so I started a company without any investors other than myself. So in a way, it's better because it's easier to control, and I don't need more. You know, like sometimes working with partners is not easy. So I have everything in control. I basically, you know, can make most of the decision. But the only downside, obviously, is that, you know, sometimes I go into financial stress, so I have to, you know, move all my other investment to, you know, to make sure I can fund my company, right? So in terms of finding investors, yeah, it's art and science. It's like, you know, there are particular way of finding investors, but at the same time, it's also, I would say, by luck as well. It's about who you know and who you can connect to, and you also have to be flexible as to, like, you know, I mean, some people are so connected that they know exactly what they want and the exact type of investor they want to get into, right? To me, my goal is to sell the company. So finding investors is just one step towards that. So to me, finding the right investors is not my main priority as long as I know that investors can get me there, right? And I was actually lucky enough that I didn't need to have an investor to sell my company. So I sold my company at the end of last year, and I sold it to a public company. So it was very different than what I had planned it in originally. So now we are part of a public company, and I actually got appointed to run that public company. So the whole journey kind of changed. So yeah, so I think to answer your question, I think my advice to find investors is that, you know, you got to be flexible. You got to have, you know, go out there and meet a lot of different kind of people and see who you can connect to. And at the same time, you know, even though, yeah, you have to be flexible, but at the same time also remain focused in your goal. I think that's the most important.
Very interesting. Yeah. So, Willie, do you think your companies can run without Willie?
Yes and no. Yes, because I set it in a way, and that's why I can handle multiple businesses, because I set it in a way where my team can, you know, take care of each companies. But at the same time, for a lot of reasons, you also want to make sure that the company needs you to run the company, right? Because then, I always compare myself as the brain, and then I hire people as the hands, so that I do most of the high level thinking and strategize, and then my other team members would do the work, right? Because I only have 2 pair of hands. That's only so much I can do. But I think I'm talented enough, intelligent enough to come up with a high level strategy. But I need people to implement them for me. So I think that's the best way to set up a structure of a company to grow and scale.
Excellent. So do you have business partners in each of these companies?
No, it's all run by myself.
Wow, excellent. So this is a classic example, guys, where Willie is running multiple companies without having business partners in each of these companies. And he's saying that he makes the high level strategy decisions and hires superb team to implement his ideas properly on the ground without flaw. Great. Thank you so much, Willie. Willie, so tell us about your e-commerce distribution. So you said you have grown 500% in the last 1 year. However, your wholesale business has taken a hit. So what are your best e-commerce tools that which you're using on Shopify?
Okay,
Shopify apps.
it changes. It really changed every year because our strategy changed, right? I always go back to understanding my customer digital journey, right? Understanding where customer come from, and then implement marketing towards that. So we actually don't use Shopify now. We switched to WooCommerce because Shopify has a lot of limitation when it comes to multiple currency and also modifying certain pages. So we switched to WooCommerce, which is a little bit more difficult to manage, but then it gives us a lot of flexibility and it's more scalable. In terms of tools, I think, do you mean like tools within Shopify, like apps, or do you mean like marketing tools?
Apps.
Yeah. I mean, like we do use a lot of different apps. I don't think there's one app that's the most important. I think it's like collectively, we have apps for reviews, we have apps for like live chat, we have apps for like, upselling. So I think they're all equally important. I think those are the basic and foundation of running an e-commerce, right? So yeah, so to answer your question, I think there are a lot of like many different kind of apps that you can use, to support your Shopify platform, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Billy, for that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wendy, you have your existing Shopify online store. Do you also plan to? Do you also use other marketplaces which primarily focus on luxury goods to sell the products?
Yes. Yes, we're on Farfetch, but I was the first Canadian partner.
Excellent. So tell us, why should somebody not use marketplaces?
Why should they not?
Yeah, use marketplaces.
Other platforms?
Yeah.
And well, you know what? It's better to concentrate. I mean, if there, a lot of people who are not. I mean, you could answer this better, but I'm sure a lot of people who are on Shopify are direct to consumer and they don't have bricks and mortar. It dilutes your product if it's everywhere, and you have to be so careful of it. And also, when you're on other marketplaces, it's so much about the visual of the product. And if it's not put up properly or the way that you want to, pursue your brand, then you're going to dilute your brand, and you're also going to have mixed messages to the consumer of what exactly is this. Over here I liked it, but over here now I'm worried about it, so I'm not going to buy it because it's selling over here and I don't trust this site. And So I think you have to be very careful. You know, I do think that so many people are trying to make, you know, a big buck fast. It's not going to happen. It's not. Oh, maybe it does every once in a while and you get lucky, but you know, you're better to do something and do it well and then build from there and get it right. And once you get it right, then go on to the next stage. But if you're, you know, trying to put it here, trying to put it there, you're not going to keep track of it. And as well, you're probably not going to ship it on time because you're going to miss a sale because it wasn't on your platform and nobody was there to send it out. And you know, there's just so many variables that are important in long-term businesses. Short term, everything seems like it's great and you're doing this and that. Yeah, call me in 2 years and tell me if you're still there.
Mhm. Yeah, I also think that building a foundation is very important. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of blame the social media nowadays. There's a lot of like entrepreneur coaches and all those out there that makes running entrepreneurs. It seems like running a business is so easy.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I think in the reality is not, right? But because
No.
of social media and, you know, Instagram, like they make all those coaches just make everything look so easy. I think it's an illusion.
Yeah, and coaches, like that's a loose term,
Yeah,
right?
it's a trendy terms now for sure.
Yeah, well, and it comes with what, a 10-day course?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
But
be
I totally
careful
agree with when, yeah.
be careful what you spend your money on. I would say that too, because, you know, people are so quick to, you know, want to sign up for this and get that.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, you can do the research yourself and figure out how to do it and do it slowly. And, you know, because a lot of these people who are all of a sudden experts and consultants,
Mhm.
you know, and of course this doesn't, you know, encompass 100%, but you know, everybody's an expert now. Everybody's a consultant. Everybody's a stylist. Like, come on,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
I
some of
do
these
agree
stylists out
with
there don't even know fabrics.
yeah, I do agree with Wendy that like building a strong foundation and finding out your passion and grow from there. I think it's the most important for a sustainable business for sure.
Very interesting. So, Wendy, do you do ad campaigns and email marketing campaigns for your clients?
Yes, we do. We do Facebook, you know, all of the traditional ones. Instagram, you know, we do a lot of editorials that will, you know, then put on all the channels. And we connect that to our Shopify site. That's one of the apps that we use. And I think that's a good app because then everywhere someone looks, they've got that connection to the core brand. So whenever we post something on Instagram, it shows up on our Shopify site, north42.com. So those are things that are important because, you know, it's cohesive. Everything's within the brand aesthetic and culture, and you know, it doesn't confuse people. So you know, there's certain things that we just won't do because that's not our client base that we're looking to attract. You know, we will, because it is social media, our social media, we drive a bit younger, only because, you know, that's who's on it. You know, somebody my age isn't necessarily always on it. So we'll drive certain things to a younger demographic. But the core brand always stays the same. Everything's very polished, very finished.
What's the biggest challenge in your business? And how do you resolve
Biggest
it?
challenge with COVID?
In general as well.
Well, the biggest challenge right now is that people, for me, being in fashion, nobody's going anywhere. So, you know, trying to convince people that, you know, it's okay to look nice if you're not going anywhere. And it's okay to, people have that mental attitude that you buy clothes because you're going somewhere. Where the Europeans, that's a part of their lifestyle. That's more important than a fancy car or a 6-car garage home, or North America has very different, they like the big show off pieces, where Europeans, it's all about how they turn out, and it's very important for them to socialize with their friends in the community and in the town square. And they always look, that's why when you go to Europe, people say, oh my God, they're so well dressed here. Yeah, this is important to them. And they're dressing for themselves, not for an event, and not because they're going somewhere. They're going out their front door. So they put something on that makes them feel good. So that's a whole education that, I've been doing since I started. Nice fabrics feel good on the body, bottom line.
Yep.
Excellent. Yes. I think that's a very important thing which people can learn from you, is that you have to dress up for yourself and not for somebody else or for an event. I think once people start understanding that, then because once you dress well, you look good, you feel confident, and you feel good about yourself, which is most important than anything else in the world. Feeling good about yourself and being happy with yourself. Thank you so much for that, Wendy. Willie, coming to you, what's the biggest mistake you made in the last 12 months?
It's hard. Last 12 months, not so much, I would say. Everything seems to be pretty, to be honest, like COVID really helped us. Like, I think, yeah, I think for the past, to be honest, past 12 months have been pretty, everything has been pretty smoothly. I would say one of the mistakes is that we we were working with an ad agency, and we switched to another one, just because of it was a transitional period. And if I were to go back, I would much prefer staying with that agency. The reason is because they already have like 3 years of data of our sales data, because they've been working with us for so long. Because of that switch, we have to kind of relearn and pivot certain marketing strategy. So that would be the only thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's a very good point, because when you're working with somebody like vendors, agencies, and they know so much about you, your style, your taste, your data, and you start with
Exactly.
somebody else, you have to redo everything. It's a good tip. So before you do that, guys, you have to make sure that you do not have to redo everything, relearn, unlearn, and all of that. Thank you so
Exactly.
much for that, Willie. Willie, if you have to give one tip to somebody who wants to start an e-commerce business right now, what would be that? What would be that tip?
I would say be open-minded. I think we're living in an era that anything could be possible. For the past, I would say for the past, even past 10 years, our main competitors are the bigger companies, but now our competitors are actually everyone. Anyone can start a business with either a lot of money or no money. And as per Wendy, like anyone and everyone is an expert nowadays, right? Anyone could learn anything from the internet. So I think one tip is that be open-minded, be focused of what you want to do, and set a goal, like a focus, like a goal that a reachable goal, a realistic goal that you can work towards, and leverage the internet. I think also Wendy mentioned that nowadays it's important to not only have brick and mortar or just online. You need multiple channels, right? Even marketplace, like to build a successful brand, especially e-commerce brand. I think you need real life presence, like in stores and also other marketplaces, and utilize all the social channels, right? Social medias, if you're creative enough, you can create really good content. Social media are free. it's a free marketing tool, especially with TikTok. It's a very it has really high variability, right? But then you also have to understand that each social channels has different demographic. Like TikTok has Gen Z, like a younger demographic, and then Facebook has I would say, an older demographic, and Instagram has kind of like the middle ground. So I think really have to understand the whole digital marketing journey, like how your customer can reach to you, and then kind of focus on there as well.
Those are some great tips, Willie. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate you doing it. Wendy, over to you. Any closing remarks? Any tips you want to give to young entrepreneurs venturing into e-commerce?
Well, I would say, map out a critical path, which is not as boring as a business plan, so it'll excite you more. And, start with, okay, why, don't just start with today, I think I'm going to sell this. Okay, what about a month from now? What about 2 months from now? And that way there'll be a natural progression of how it will start to build for you, and you won't have to all of a sudden make a sharp left turn and start over again because you thought about it longer in the beginning. And start with something that, not necessarily, well, I saw this and everyone's doing it, so I think I should sell it too. Try and think to yourself, okay, what am I good at, or what do I like? And that way you'll choose an interest that, has more sustainability to you because you're interested in it, not just because somebody else seems to be making money with it. And it'll also be more authentic, and people are looking for, something that's authentic to the brand, to yourself, and has a reason for being. And you're going to see that more and more now, because more and more people are going to figure out that, not everyone's an expert and not everybody is honest. And, you can get duped, right? You can buy something, they don't ship it out, and they keep your money. So if you start with something that, makes sense, and then you can keep adding to that, or just keep with that one item, a lot of times less is more. And if you start with that, it's going to be easier for you to, have those fruit hang from the tree.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have learned a lot from Wendy and Willie today. I think Wendy told us about a lot of things. For example, making sure you take small steps, you do consistently those steps, and you do not try to become rich overnight. There are no shortcuts to success. You have to keep doing it consistently, and focus on your strengths as well. I think that's a very important point. Over the years, we have been learning to work on our weakness. I think that's a wrong advice. We got to focus on our strengths and pay somebody else to take care of your weaknesses. If you're not good at, let's say, Excel sheets, pay somebody who can do Excel sheets for you and the financial modeling for you, and you focus on your strengths, and you do a business well. Willie also spoke about fantastic things like setting up goals, which is very important, realistic goals. I think if you have a goal, you can go and reach their goal faster. And it's very important. Willie also mentioned the importance of having a vision. I think vision is very important. Mission is very important. Goals are very important for all entrepreneurs. And following the passion is also very important. Just because somebody else doing it, you shouldn't start your business. That's a very important tip. You have to identify what's your passion. So you have to sit back, relax, think, take a step back, and identify your strengths, identify your passion, and follow your passion, follow your dream, so that you don't fall on the way. Those are some of the great tips from Wendy and Willie. Guys, really appreciate you coming over this morning and talking and sharing a secret sauce. I really enjoy the conversation. We look forward to being in touch with you. This video is being recorded, and we'll send you the video snippets, the small snippets we're going to be cutting out of this video, and we'll tag your social media with the snippets. And thank you again for sharing your secret sauce and for being a giver. You guys were givers who did not shy away from giving your secret tips. Really appreciate you giving it away.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah,
thank you, Willie.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.